Hello my loyal companions, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a look at the best links for Dahlia currently within the meta of Rogue Company. I'm going to be going from the worst link that I think Dahlia has all the way up to the best link that I think you can do currently within the game. If you do go on to enjoy the video or you just want to see daily, educational, Rogue Company content, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. But for now, let's get into it. So Dahlia's place in the game right now is a little bit more focused towards just the strategic link of her ability. Her weapons are not the best, and whilst they can do okay damage, she's really not as gunplay orientated as she was previously. Therefore, the only reason Dahlia is really picked up now is for a good strategic link and the use of her smoke and grenades, which are so strong, as well as that lifeline revive. With that being said, I'm going to rate the best and worst passives that Dahlia can link for in a strategic sense for demolition. This list does change slightly for strikeout, but not too much, and demolition is going to be the focus of this list here. With the change as well that Dahlia now has to pre-link and can't just link to downed enemies, means that you do have to focus on who you're linking to and the reasons for it a lot more. This list is even more impactful since that nerf. Starting with the worst passive at number 17 is going to be Vi. Vi's passive, Leeching Poison, which gives her extra life when she uses her poison ability and takes damage off of enemies, doesn't actually translate to Dahlia in any way. Therefore, the passive actually has no use, she doesn't get any benefit from it, is purely linking to revive a Vi, and that may not intentionally be worth it. Coming in at number 16 is going to be Dallas. Now in theory, Dallas's passive isn't that bad because recharge allows her to revive when she gets it down, but the interaction in itself is very rare in Rogue Company. Because what has to happen is, Dallas has to go down, get lifeline revived by Dahlia, she then has to get it down, Dallas then needs to go down again so he can link revive again. And it's just not an interaction that happens very often in Rogue Company, and for the most part will not happen in your games, and therefore again is kind of useless and kind of not even really a passive, and therefore he comes in a second last hit on this list. Coming in number 15 is going to be Fixer, whose passive is shrapnel rounds, which slows down enemies when you hit them with a firearm. On the surface, this actually sounds really good. Slowing down enemies could be really good at helping your tracking, but realistically what actually happens is that this isn't a very impactful slow. Therefore, it's not a high priority passive that Dahlia wants to be linking to. If it got a buff, it absolutely could be some great tracking and killing, but realistically at the moment it's not that good and therefore isn't really worth the link. Number 14 is going to be Glitch with Intuition, which his passive lets him see his gadgets through walls. This includes sticky sensors, Talon dart, Ronin knife and pre-aimed C4. These are all really useful things to be able to see through walls, or something like an Anvil shield to know where it's been placed, and it can help allude to enemy positions or just make sure you don't get caught out by things, especially now that sticky sensors with Seeker and Phantom are so much more prevalent within the meta. He's not that bad of a passive, but again, isn't one that you really want to be linking to all the time for. There are definitely better options, and you can just trust him to look for that or hack them using his device and his main ability Hack. Therefore, he will come in at number 14 as a pick that is okay in sort of situations, but isn't really worth it compared to others on this list. Number 13 is going to be Talon with Mag Gloves. Now, Mag Gloves are super underrated. They can be really clutch at helping you get utility from range, helping you pick up a sniper if, say, you down them from range, or picking up the bomb for really clutch situations. However, the situations where you really need Mag Gloves often don't come up too much, and therefore it's not a reliable passive you want to be linking for specifically. Unless you're doing a melee only challenge, you want to reclaim swords from distance, then it may be worth it. Number 12 is Chaac, and Chaac's passive Grit allows him to have additional health when he goes down. Most people when they go down have 100 health, Chaac has 150 health, and allows them to roll on the ground to get away from enemies. That in itself is not bad. It means you survive longer on the ground. It means you can be stay down for longer before you get revive, which is really nice. And means you can actually get out of sticky situations, not get pre-naded when you're down and get thirsted, and does offer a little bit of ability there. However, the reason that I'm actually going to say that Chaac's passive is not too bad to link for isn't actually for the passive. It's actually just for the fact that it's Chaac you're linking to. And the reason for this is that Chaac really doesn't want to be having to waste his ability on his revive. Therefore, linking a Dahlia to him instead allows him to save that ability to bang on his chest and run at people using his Stimpack ability and gain that additional health. And then if he does go down, he can be linked, revived by Dahlia. Number 11 is Dima with Burn. Now, Burn is a very interesting passive that reveals enemies when they're hit with grenades. And given how important grenades are in the meta, having a reveal on anyone you don't fully kill or someone you do kill on a thirst is pretty nice. That being said though, I don't think this passive translates as well to Dahlia. She only really has one explosive with that grenade. It's not like Dima who has the grenade and the Merv launcher, which doesn't always hit for massive damage and therefore the reveal is useful. So it's not necessarily the best. It's okay, it's definitely useful in the grenade meta in case you want a bit more information with that reveal, but it's not a high priority passive like some of the others. Now in number 10 is one you may find kind of strange, and I've actually put Lancer in number 10. I don't think Lancer's passive for Dahlia in Demolition is very useful. In Strikeout, if she's running the objection, definitely it's far more useful, but I don't think in Demolition it's that good. There tends to be ample opportunity to reload within Demolition matches, and Dahlia's current meta is focusing far more around just using the Executioner and not really worrying about a primary weapon, in which case those bullets are more than enough and the roll reload isn't that useful for them. Dahlias do tend to pick up the objection now a little bit more in Demolition, so that's not bad for it, and that's why it's kind of high up on this list, but it's definitely not a priority one you want to go for, and you don't really need that roll reload, especially that given that Lancers tend to flank often, and they may be out of your 30-meter range. She's not a high priority link anymore. Now those in position 9, 8, 7, and 6, I've kind of clumped together in terms of their viability. These passives specifically counter other rogues or other pieces of utility, and therefore they're not necessarily ones that you always want to be linking to, but you might depending on what the enemy team have picked up, and I'll explain how each of them work now. Number 9 is Sigrid with the passive Athletic. What this means is that she is immune to slows and walks a little bit faster when she's crouching. This is obviously very good for Sigrid, who is sort of this breacher with the shield who wants to be moving fast with their shield out, but for Dahlia, it's not really that useful. It kind of comes into counterplay of Trench, wherefore you can move through barbed wire easily or gas grenades without having that slow effect. You still have the disorient from gas grenades, but you won't have the slow, which can be kind of nice. It's just very niche in terms of when you actually want to use it to counterplay, which is why she's the lower of these passives. Ronin is number 8 with her passive Undercover, which means she's immune from coming up on the radar. This means that in terms of the radar, her weapon is silenced because she won't pop up when she shoots, but also means she's immune to Talon darts, so she's a great counter to Talon, and that means when Dahlia links to her, she's also immune to Talon. It means there's 2 people, half the enemy team, that are immune to Talon dart, which is quite nice. It's fairly useful. That's why she comes up in this number 8 slot. Coming number 7 is going to be Anvil with his passive immunity, which makes him immune to disorient and flashbang effects. This is really nice into flashbang meta where you have Chaac and Glitch and Talon who are trying to flashbang you, or any gas grenade disorient effects that may come through, and it's quite nice to pair with him if you tend to have a lot of those on the enemy team. If you don't, there's really no point, but if there are some there, it is fairly good, and you do see it run in high level play a fair amount should there be a lot of flashbangs on the enemy team. That means number 6 is going to be Scorch with Fireproof, which obviously makes her immune to fire. This is really, really good when fire is used so often to flush people out of positions, and Dahlia and Scorch can now sit there when linked in that fire and not have to deal with that negative effect. Also, recently they did fix the bug that meant you couldn't regenerate your health while standing in fire. It did stop your health regen. That has been fixed now, which does add to the sort of use of this passive. And that's why it's in that number 6 role at the top of these sort of counterplay passives that are within the game. Number 5 is going to be Phantom, and I really like Phantom's passive Grievous Wounds, which delays health regeneration of your enemies for even longer. Normally, enemies will start regenerating the health after 5 seconds of not taking damage, but Grievous Wounds is 7. And what this allows you to do is actually go and trade, regen your health first, and then go and push them while they're still regenerating their health. Enemies will also forget sometimes and not realize that they have the Grievous Wounds effect and think their health is regened and peak out on low health, and this can tend to get you a few kills. I know I've made that mistake a lot, so it can be really useful to link with Phantom, and I just really like this passive in the game and in the fast-paced nature of trying to get these trade kills and trade damage with each other. Number 4 is going to be Saint with Medical Expertise, and this is quite nice, not only just for the passive, which means that the people you revive come back up with 80 health instead of 30, and you gain your full health back once that revive comes off. It is just quite nice to link to a Saint because then you have that double medic sort of playstyle on your team. You have Saint who can revive globally, and should he go down, you have Dahlia there to link with him. And it's just quite a nice passive to have, and in the meta of where nades are so important, you may need that double revive on your team, especially for a map like Windward, and so it can be quite useful, and I would recommend it, as he's quite a high priority link depending on what the rest of your team comp are. The top 3 took a lot of debate for me about who I was going to put where and why they should be there, but I'm going to start with number 3, and this is going to be Kestrel. Kestrel's passive is Legends Contract, which gives her an extra $1,000 per down in any game mode, including Demolition. This is really, really good in early rounds for Dahlia to link to get the initial money that she needs, whether it be getting Lifeline, whether it be getting Tenacity, her grenades upgraded. Probably in the first 2 to 3 rounds, Kestrel is the best link for Dahlia to do to just flood her economy, especially in the current system where the economy is so detrimental. You tend not to be able to get your guns or your perks very quickly. Having Dahlia linked to Kestrel early on kind of negates this. It means she can get those really crucial perks and sort of upgrades early on, which is really nice. When it goes into the later rounds, Kestrel isn't that useful. I do see Dahlia's linking to Kestrel really late, including the last round of the half, which makes no sense because that passive is useless at that point. And as you get later on into the rounds, you don't really need that extra income as Dahlia because you've got your core kit, and you may want to link to someone better, such as some of the immunity people I've talked to further down this list, or the first and second place, which I'm going to go on to now. Number 2 is going to be Seeker with Ricochet. Ricochet increases the damage of bounced objects by 60%. This is really good for her grenades, and especially in grenade meta, this is really nice at burning through people with tenacity or people with headstrong. Having a grenade that is guaranteed to kill somebody no matter what they buy is really obnoxious, but also really strong currently within the game. And linking to Seeker really allows her to do this with some fluidity. This is definitely one of the best passives for her to link to currently. It obviously does force you to buy a grenade early on, but does stop you having to upgrade it until later rounds, because it will always counter through tenacity, which is really nice. Therefore, coming in first place is what I think is the best passive with Dahlia to link to currently within the meta is going to be Trench, actually, purely for that double nade. Yes, the grenades aren't as strong as if you were to link with a Seeker, but you have 2 of them, meaning that's 2 potential picks you can get, especially when you fully upgrade it. You can get a 150 damage burning through tenacity. This is really nice and super high priority, I think. Linking with Trench has always been one of her best passives. Getting the double nades and double smoke grenades for early round pushes, early round utility is amazing, and still Trench is the top link for Dahlia currently within the game, in my opinion, based on the current meta of using grenades so often in Demolition. Okay guys, that is going to be the list of passives that I think are best for Dahlia to link to in the current meta, from the worst all the way up to the best, and let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Do remember also guys, sometimes it's not a bad idea just to link to your friend who you're in comms with, say you're duo queuing, or even just link to the best player on your team to keep them alive. Those are also valuable links I didn't obviously mention in the list because I was just talking about the passives and specific links to rogues, but it's a perfectly viable playstyle in the game currently. Okay then guys, that takes us to the end of the video, and if you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. You can also come follow me on twitch.tv/RADTHARGAMING to see live gameplay commentaries, guides, Q&As, and playing with viewers. All the links are needed down in the description below, but for now, I hope you have a fantastic day. And remember, be loyal, be brave, be relentless, and I'll catch you in the next video.